Hello, hello, hello. Hello, beautiful people. This is Ms.B, the goddess of empathy. The name is for you, but the title is for me. You can just call me Ms.B. I want to say thank you for joining me on this podcast. Just to give you a little bit of an update, I recently applied for my LLC for my business, and I have just been running around doing everything that I can to promote myself. And honestly speaking, it's been hard for me to find a regular schedule and the proper platform on how to use this podcast. Yes, I have over 20 years of experience in addiction counseling and administration and lifetime addiction in my family. I have that personal and that professional experience, but I find myself running out of topics related to addiction and alcoholism. I know that sounds weird because there are so many topics that can be talked about. However, it has to be authentic and it has to come from a place of preparation and professionalism. Now, I've reached out to many people in the past and scheduled interviews and attempted to schedule interviews, and no one really has been following through and been consistent. So I don't know if that reflects on me as an entrepreneur. Maybe I need to do better with follow-up. Or maybe if it's the universe telling me to select another strategy for this podcast. So today, this is Unscripted. And this is something that came to my head this morning. So I'm going to share it with you. And I highly invite you to send me your response to this podcast on my email for my podcast. You can leave it here on Anchor, a voice message, or you could email me at msbempathy@gmail.com. That's msbempathy@gmail.com. Ms.B.empathy@gmail.com. And one more time, for those who takes a little bit longer, including myself, my email is M as in Mary, S as in Sam, B as in Bernadette, E as in everybody, M as in Mary, P as in Paul, A as in Apple, T as in Tom, H as in Happy, Y as in Yellow, @gmail.com. And so what is the topic of today, Ms. B? I am so glad you asked. Unrehearsed. The topic of today is purge and heal. Purge and heal is what I heard this morning. So, like most of my podcasts, they're completely off the cuff, unscripted. I don't want this to be a venting podcast, but throughout the months that I have been working on this, that's what it has been becoming when I have been going through these life lessons. I get on the podcast and I go through a challenge, I express it, I ask for opinions, but because I haven't gained momentum with my followership, no one ever responds. So if you're out there in the universe and you hear this and this resonates with you, please let me know. It would mean so much. So, purge and heal. Now, this is that's the topic of today, and I tell you why. And I'm just going to be straight authentic. Where do I begin? Okay, so yesterday. But there has to be a little background before we get to yesterday. I was in a relationship, or was fumbling through a relationship that was very one-sided, with me showing affection, love, caring, etc., and my significant other not. Now, my intuition told me from the beginning, I am the goddess of empathy, and I did not listen to my intuitive gifts. Not good for a goddess. And throughout having these intuition and these signs at the beginning, I ignored it anyway. Don't we all do that? So, yesterday, things kind of came to a head. Now, in my home, I have various wall decor I like to decorate, and the way I like to decorate is very spiritual, I guess you could say. So I have scriptures in art and wall art. And I was having the darndest time getting these scriptures on my wall, and my wall art on my wall in my kitchen. So my landlord came I had them up, and they were up really good. One was fruit of the spirit, that scripture, and the other one was love, the scripture on love from the Bible, which is from 1 Corinthians. So a couple of months ago, I had the wall up in my kitchen, and it was sturdy and it was pretty good. But my landlord had to come. He wanted to give me new linoleum, so he gave me new linoleum. And in the midst of them putting down this linoleum, the one of the wall art, the glass broke. So the landlord finally got it replaced and gave it to me. So now I am a woman, I'm not handy, and I went to put this picture up myself, and every time I tried to put it up, I couldn't quite get them up. So yesterday I was just kind of like, I'm determined to get these pictures up. So I'm working on it, and I put these pictures up, and I get some double-sided tape. So the pictures are pretty heavy, so I put the double-sided tape, and I get the pictures up, the two pictures up with the scriptures from the fruit of the Spirit and from 1 Corinthians, the scriptures on love. And I put these pictures up, and my significant other comes in the door. Now, the relationship, like I said, is one-sided, and it was time to confront. At that point where it's like neither one of us wants to be the first to say goodbye. It's like you don't have to say anything, and you can feel the tension or the resistance in the air and the atmosphere. It had come to that. We needed to have this conversation. It was like the song from the 90s, We're Not Making Love Anymore. We were way past that. We needed to have a conversation. So my significant other comes in the door, and I'm working on using my voice for what it's for. So I start to say, I asked him how he was doing, if he was happy. He said he was, even though I knew he wasn't. At that time, I started to tell him that I haven't been, and that I'm sad, and I haven't been happy since the beginning. I've been, basically speaking from my heart and from my spirit, being extra careful not to blame him and not to become argumentative. Thank God I had a conversation with a great friend yesterday who's also a licensed social worker who was giving me some good advice on how to deal with it. So I'm telling him how I'm feeling, and it's coming out, and I'm feeling really proud of myself. I'm expressing myself, and one of the pictures fall off the wall, and the glass breaks. And I'm so upset because you don't understand. Like, I feel like I don't know what it is with this wall art, but I needed to have these reminders up on the wall. I needed to see them. So I get so upset. And the wall art falls and it cracks and the glass breaks again. So I'm like, all right, this is like the fourth time it broke. Like, it's done. So I'm still having a conversation with my significant other, telling him how I'm feeling. And he's receiving it. And he's admitting that, it's not me. It's him, and it wasn't me. And he's gonna come up with something, whatever. We're gonna come up with something, basically allowing him a little bit of space to eventually, come to the realization that this relationship has to dissolve. So the wall art falls and it breaks. So I'm talking to him, and while I'm talking to him, I'm taking the poster out of the glass, and I attempt to put the poster up now. So I'm determined to put this back up, this picture back up. So I get one piece up of it's the art, and it's the scripture from the fruit of the Spirit, and it's love by the Spirit. Fruit of the Spirit. Live by the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And that's taken from Galatians 5:22, the fruit of the Spirit. And it says, live by the Spirit. And it says, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And it's taken from Galatians chapter 5, verse 2. I'm sorry, Galatians chapter 5, verse 22. And because we are at the 10-minute mark, I'm going to stop right here and I'm going to take a break and I'm going to pick up with the other half of my story. So this is Ms.B, the goddess of empathy. The name is for you, but the title is for me. You can just call me Ms.B. I want to say thank you for listening to part 1 of my Purge and Heal on today, which is May the 3rd, 2019. Please come right back for part 2 of this story. You're going to love it.